Hi everyone, Tanner here. I apologize, today I'm getting over a cold, so the voice is a little hoarse. But let's get into it. Today we're going to talk about how believing that the body's damage alone can trigger neuroplastic pain or other physical symptoms, and how we can start giving the brain the message that the body's completely fine. So let's get into it. The tricky part about pain is that the brain will produce pain even when it just believes that the body's damaged. And this is really complex, people, and hard to figure out. And I remember early on spending hours debating if there was something structurally wrong with me or not. A fascinating study to explain how believing that the body's damaged can produce real pain symptoms is what I call the hairdryer study. It's not actually called that, but I'm trying to make a research study fun so that you don't leave this video. Please don't leave. In the study, participants were hooked up to a machine, had electrodes placed all over their head, and they were told that an electrical current would go through their head, causing a temporary headache. However, the machine was fake, and actually just one of those old hair dryers that was souped up to look all sciencey. That's not really a word. Really, the machine did nothing and would cause no physical damage to the participants. But the researchers really sold it. They had a shock generator sign on the machine, they had a speaker behind the machine that made a humming noise, and they even had a dial on the machine where researchers would pretend to turn up the electrical current. And the result, 50% of participants developed a headache. This wasn't just a few participants, people. This was 50% of them that developed an actual headache from this sham machine. And also, that knob on the machine, the higher the researchers turned it up, the more pain participants reported having. And this study shows that believing that our body's damaged can produce real pain sensations, even in the absence of structural damage. And the difficult part here is that we have a biological instinct to associate pain with physical damage, which is really important because otherwise, if we got injured, we would keep using our body and damage it further. And this is why it's hard to believe that our pain is neuroplastic, because biologically, we have been designed to think otherwise. For myself, when I was in chronic pain, I really believed that there was something serious wrong with my back and my hips. And I believed this because when I would walk around people, I would have debilitating pain in my back, hips, and legs. And I would even imagine as I was walking that my poor spine was crunching with every step. So it should be clear that I was really giving my brain the message that there was something serious wrong with my body. And so early on, when I was on my mind-body journey, it was really important that I started giving my brain the message that my body was completely fine. So the first step in teaching our brain that the body's completely fine is we need to start looking for evidence, people, that our pain isn't behaving the way structural pain typically does. Now, previously, I've done a video on the 12 signs of neuroplastic pain, so check that out so that you know what you're looking for. Starting to gather evidence that our pain is not behaving the way structural pain typically does helps the logical parts of our brain feel safe and logically understand that there is nothing wrong with the body. And for myself, one of my first big pieces of evidence, which I know I've talked about before, was when I was working at a university in a therapy center. And in between sessions, I would lie down on the ground because my back hurt so much. And I remember this one night, I was working a night, and I was lying down in between sessions, and my back pain was like an 8 out of 10. And I started doing this hopeful meditation. And something clicked. I really got into it. I felt hopeful that I was going to be pain-free one day and that I would have this wonderful family. And all of a sudden, my pain went from an 8 to a 0. And this was my first big piece of evidence that my pain wasn't behaving the way structural pain typically does. The second recommendation that I have is starting to consistently give your brain messages of safety that your body's completely fine. Early on in my mind-body journey, I would consistently remind my brain, as I was walking that my back, hips, and legs were healthy and completely capable, and that my brain had just been misinterpreting things for a long time. Now, you can play around with the language here because, as I found working with clients, different language works for different people. But some examples are my muscles and tendons are completely healthy, my ligaments and nerves are perfectly intact. All that's taking place is a safe, normal, neutral sensation. It's just my brain has been misinterpreting things for a long time due to feeling in danger. But my body is completely safe. Or you could say my body is healthy and capable, and my brain is just making a mistake. Or lastly, you could remind yourself that this pain sensation is just a sensation and it will eventually pass. My next suggestion for teaching the brain that the body's fine is actually reframing avoidance behaviors that you're using. So avoidance behaviors could be massaging the area, heat or ice, going to physiotherapy. And here's the thing, people. I know there's differing opinions on this. I'm not against avoidance behaviors. A little bit of avoidance is okay when the pain's really high, but we need to reframe why we're using it. So if you're going to physiotherapy, you need to reframe to your brain that I'm not doing this because there's something structurally wrong with my body. I'm doing this as a way to feel safe. And by reframing it, we prevent the brain from believing that we're doing this because the body's damaged. And the last way, and one of the best ways to give our brain the message that the body is completely fine, is to actually start using our body again. And listen, I know this can be scary, people, but the longer we avoid using our body, the more we're giving the brain the message that we must be avoiding using our body because it's dangerous and because the body's damaged. Now, you do not need to rush into excessively using your body. We don't want to overwhelm the brain here. I just want you to slow it down and start making small steps towards using your body in ways that you don't typically do. This could be as simple as going for a short walk or starting to do a chore around the house that you typically avoid. And people, by starting to use your body again, you're teaching the brain that the body is completely fine. So I hope this video was helpful. I apologize for the rough voice, but I made it through it. And please experiment with giving your brain messages of safety in different ways that your body's completely fine, as this will help you overcome neuroplastic pain. And please put your questions or comments down below, hit the like button, and subscribe to my channel, as I'm going to release videos every week talking about neuroplastic pain and mind-body syndrome. Take care of yourselves.